I did not have sexual relations with that woman. 8 words. One defiant gesture. And a gaze that looked directly into the souls of over 200 million Americans. At that moment, Bill Clinton wasn't just lying. He was performing a linguistic masterpiece. In the world of the elite, words aren't meant to express the truth, they are meant to redefine it. Welcome to Society Noir. We often think of political scandals through the lens of morality, but today, we dissect it as a psychological invasion. How did a genius mind, a Rhodes Scholar capable of negotiating global peace treaties, believe he could use grammar to defeat DNA? This isn't just a story about a blue dress or a 2-4-year-old intern. This is a dossier on how ultimate power hypnotizes itself and how a legacy media system crumbled at the doorstep of the digital age. To understand why Bill Clinton felt he could lie to the world, we must understand the empire of charisma he built. Clinton wasn't a standard politician, he was a rock star in a presidential suit. Body language experts call him a master of connection. When Bill looks at you, you feel like the only person in the room. When Bill speaks, you feel it's not policy, but a confession. This hubris created a blind belief. If I can persuade you to believe me, the truth no longer matters. In the mid-90s, America was intoxicated by economic success. Clinton was the hero, but inside the Oval Office, a different reality was being written. Monica Lewinsky, a young woman filled with admiration, entered the White House in 1995. To Monica, Bill was a god. To Bill, Monica was a dangerous pause amidst the suffocating pressures of power. Here, we see the emergence of shadow language. In private conversations, Bill never said too much. He used pauses and double-edged words, creating a space where consent was implied but never explicitly recorded. This is how the powerful protect themselves, always leaving a semantic escape hatch. The fracture didn't begin with a major newspaper, but with a woman named Linda Tripp and a series of secret tape recordings. Linda didn't just record Monica's monologues, she recorded the evidence of a dynasty's collapse. When the Paula Jones lawsuit broke, Clinton was forced to answer questions about his relationship with Lewinsky under oath. This was the peak of linguistic drama. Clinton prepared for this like the ultimate legal exam. Pay attention to his use of the phrase sexual relations. In the mind of a seasoned lawyer like Clinton, if the act didn't precisely match the narrow definition provided by the court, then technically, he wasn't lying. This is the insolence of intellect. He didn't deceive by denying the event. He deceived by altering the meaning of the words. It depends on what the meaning of the word is. He famously argued, when a president debates the existence of a verb, we know truth has become a toy in the hands of power. But Bill forgot one thing. Words are flexible, but DNA is not. In the world of Society Noir, the blue dress isn't just a fashion item, it's an emperor's Achilles heel. Monica kept that dress on the advice of Linda Tripp Insurance for her safety, but a death warrant for Bill's narrative. While Clinton was busy building linguistic barriers in court, FBI technicians were scanning for undeniable biological traces. This moment marked the end of the trust me era and the beginning of the era of digital and biological evidence. Clinton made the greatest miscalculation of his life. He believed the power of charisma could crush physical reality. He believed that if he was sincere enough on television, the public wouldn't care about what happened behind the curtain. But the world was shifting. The internet was creeping in. Bloggers like Matt Drudge didn't play by the DC elite rules. They didn't need White House permission to hit publish. The wall around the Oval Office was no longer a fortress. It had become a glass house, and everyone had a stone. Bill Clinton won the word game for decades, but this time his opponent wasn't another politician. His opponent was a hurt young woman, an unwashed dress, and a new, bloodthirsty media landscape. Can the master communicator flip the script when the DNA evidence goes public? Or is this the end of the line for America's golden boy? In the elite circles of Washington, D.C., information is more than just data, it is the currency of survival. For years, Bill Clinton had been the master of the exchange. He knew exactly what to give and what to hide. But as the investigation into an unrelated real estate deal, Whitewater, began to stall, the special counsel, Kenneth Starr, pivoted. He didn't find a financial crime, he found a human one. Or more accurately, a biological one. The transition from a political inquiry to a forensic autopsy of a president's private life was not an accident. It was a calculated, hostile takeover of the Clinton narrative. Monica Lewinsky, once a silent confidant who cherished her presidential crush, was suddenly transformed into the most dangerous witness in American history. And the catalyst wasn't a sudden burst of conscience. It was a secret digital betrayal orchestrated by a woman Monica considered a mother figure, Linda Tripp. Imagine the irony. The most powerful man on the planet, with access to nuclear codes and global intelligence networks, was being dismantled by a series of cheap cassette tapes recorded in a suburban kitchen. This is the dark humor of the Society Noir. The higher you climb, the smaller the pebble that trips you. While Bill was busy playing 4D chess with world leaders, the ground was being cut from under him by a disgruntled civil servant with a recorder. As the tapes went public, the White House shifted into a state of dictatorial damage control. The strategy was simple but brutal: destroy the girl to save the god. The Clinton machine began a silent, systemic character assassination of Monica Lewinsky. They didn't call her a liar that would be too easy to disprove. Instead, they labeled her a stalker, a starstruck intern, an emotional fantasist. This is a classic Robert Greene maneuver: isolate your enemy. By painting Monica as unstable, the elite circle hoped to make the truth feel like a hallucination. They wanted the public to believe that Bill wasn't a predator or a liar, but a victim of an obsessive fan. It was a masterpiece of gaslighting, executed with the cold precision of a corporate layoff. But then, the blue dress emerged from the back of a closet. The Gap dress was more than just fabric. It was a physical manifestation of a truth that could not be debated, redefined, or parsed by lawyers. In the sterilized laboratories of the FBI, the DNA didn't care about Bill's charisma. It didn't care about his approval ratings or the flourishing economy. The DNA was a silent, unerasable witness that turned his linguistic masterpiece into a pathetic joke. Now, imagine being Bill Clinton in August 1998. The walls of the Oval Office, usually a sanctuary of power, had become a velvet-lined prison. He was trapped between a grand jury and a wife whose political ambition was just as formidable as his own. This leads us to the most fascinating figure in this psychological thriller, Hillary Rodham Clinton. To the public, she was the standing wife, the symbol of loyalty and resilience. But behind the closed doors of the residence, a different transaction was taking place. This wasn't just a marriage, it was a power merger. Hillary didn't stay because of a simple romantic bond. She stayed because the Clinton brand was a shared asset. If he went down, the path to her own future presidency would be buried under the rubble of his scandal. Hillary famously went on national television to blame a vast right-wing conspiracy. It was a brilliant move. It shifted the focus from Bill's biology to a political war. It turned a cheating husband into a persecuted martyr. This is how the elite survive. They turn their private sins into public crusades. They make you believe that by defending them, you are defending your own values. As the grand jury testimony approached, the tension reached a breaking point. Bill was no longer just the comeback kid. He was a man staring into the void of an abrupt log-out from society. He had to testify. He had to face the very questions he had spent months evading with his semantic gymnastics. The world watched as the President of the United States was forced to sit in a room and discuss the most intimate, embarrassing details of his life. The golden boy was being stripped of his armor, piece by piece. But even in the face of total exposure, the linguistic predator within him refused to die. He prepared to give a performance that would either save his presidency or cement his status as the most arrogant man to ever hold the office. He was about to learn that in the age of the 2 4-hour news cycle, even a king can be cannibalized by the very subjects who once worshipped him. The stage was set for the ultimate confession, one that would be delivered with a sneer, not a tear. On the evening of the 17th of August, 1998, Bill Clinton walked into a small room in the White House to give the most difficult 4-minute speech of his life. But if the world expected a broken man begging for mercy, they were fundamentally mistaken. The comeback kid didn't deliver a confession, he delivered a tactical retreat. He admitted to a relationship that was not appropriate, but he did so with a tone of defiant irritation. This was the ultimate Society Noir moment. The president wasn't apologizing to the public for breaking their trust, he was scolding them for watching. He spent a significant portion of his apology attacking the special counsel, Kenneth Starr, effectively turning his own moral failure into a debate about privacy and prosecutorial overreach. It was a masterclass in shifting the blame, a linguistic sleight of hand that Robert Greene would have admired. He wasn't looking for forgiveness, he was looking for a way to stay in the game. Then came the impeachment, a grand, expensive theater of the absurd. The House of Representatives voted to impeach, but the Senate, sensing the public's exhaustion with the chemical chaos of the scandal, refused to convict. Bill Clinton had survived. He had stared into the void of biological retirement and blinked last. But survival in the elite world always comes with a strictly enforced expiration date on one's reputation. While Bill kept his desk in the Oval Office, the shattering of the fragile mind was reserved for Monica Lewinsky. As the president's approval ratings miraculously soared thanks to a booming economy and a brilliant PR machine, Monica was left to wander the ruins of her own life. She wasn't just a discarded muse, she was the obedient victim. The industry needed to move on. Imagine the structural cruelty of this outcome. The man who held the power kept it, the woman who held the secret was crushed by it. This is the forensic autopsy of the scandal. It was never about sex, and it was never about the law. It was about the impenetrability of the elite. The system is designed to protect its primary assets, and Bill Clinton, for all his flaws, was a high-value asset. Monica was merely human fuel burned to keep the engine running. As the curtains finally closed on the 1990s, The legacy of the Lewinsky scandal settled into a cold, cynical reality. We entered the era of post-truth, where a well-timed semantic argument could override a DNA test. Bill Clinton's survival taught the world's elite a dangerous lesson. You don't have to be innocent, you just have to be indispensable. And what of the power merger? Hillary Clinton emerged from the wreckage not as a victim, but as a political titan in her own right. The scandal that should have ended her career became the launchpad for her own Senate run. The standing wife had successfully traded her personal humiliation for political capital, a calculated transaction that defines the very soul of the Society Noir. Today, we look back at this era not with shock, but with a weary understanding. We see the silver-haired predators and the IT girls for what they really were, players in a game where the rules are written in invisible ink. Monica Lewinsky eventually reclaimed her narrative, transitioning from a punchline to an advocate, but the scars of the systemic destruction remain visible. In the end, the story of Bill and Monica isn't a romance, and it isn't even a tragedy. It's a forensic breakdown of how power operates when the lights go out. It's a reminder that in the grand ballroom of history, the music eventually stops, and someone always has to pay the bill. Usually, it's the one who believed the lies were true. The punchline to this brutal joke? We're still talking about it, and they're still winning. Stay with us as we continue to unspool the darkest secrets of the world's most untouchable icons. This is Society Noir,